she said in the chair. All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. And we do apologize for the delay, but thank you so much for being here this evening. We'll call to order this meeting of the City Council of the City of Fort Walton Beach. We will first stand, if you're able, for an invocation from Reverend David Knight, Rector at St. Simon's on the Sound, and then continue standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Let's take a moment as we go to the Lord in prayer and take some deep breaths and center ourselves, put aside the troubles of the day, remind ourselves of why we are here. Gracious and loving God, we thank you for the opportunity to come together in this way, in this free country. I thank you for the leaders of this city and those who've offered themselves in so many different ways to support our citizens and the citizens who come to do the same. We pray your blessing upon them. May you guide all of them with wisdom and compassion, mercy and justice that comes only from you. We lift up to you all the victims of violence in this community, in our nation, in the world, especially the Jewish community in Australia, and students at Brown University, and others that we may name silently or aloud. May peace reign on this earth, Lord. May love replace hate. May you protect all of our first responders and those in our armed forces, especially those in harm's way. May your blessing be upon us this day and always. We ask in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for that, Reverend. Moves us to the approval of the agenda tonight. Council?
Mayor, I'd like to amend tonight's agenda and move, help me out, Miss Barnes, the Around the Mound resolution. What number is that?
9.3.
9.3, here it is. My computer is rolling slow on me. I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to move that up to right after our ACE Awards at 5.2, but before our Christmas Parade winners at 5.3.
Second. Okay. Approval of the agenda made by Councilman Schmidt, seconded by Councilman Jeter, to approve the agenda with that one small change. Any additional comments?
Full disclosure, I had on the calendar to not come to tonight's meeting at all due to my wife's birthday. I want to discuss this item that will probably impact all of our grandkids and some great-grandkids, and want to get that business taken care of, and I'll probably step out.
I think that's probably the best idea for everybody. Council, please vote.
In that case, I might stick around.
The motion does pass unanimously, which brings us to recognitions. And we have two wonderful students here in the audience today. The first one is from Choctaw High School, Eleanor Neal. If you and your family would like to step up to the podium right there, we're going to say some nice things about you, tell everyone about you. Miss Eleanor Neal, I assume you go by Ellie?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll just say Ellie exemplifies civic excellence through her exceptional academic performance, youth leadership, athletics, and community service. Sixth in her class with a 4.63 GPA, Ellie is renowned for her community involvement in church and running youth groups. Ms. Neal boasts an impressive record as a student of the pre-IB and dual enrollment programs with recognitions as an Indian Scholar. Ellie counts memberships in the class office, Excel Club, Key Club, Mu Alpha Theta among her repertoire. As captain of the cross-country and distance teams, an active member of the National Honor Society, and through employment as a Run With It sales associate, she inspires peers through her innovativeness, excellent teamwork, and service to the community. Congratulations, Ellie.
Thank you.
Hang on one second. If you could please also tell us where you plan to go to school, what you plan to study, if you have any of that stuff together.
I haven't figured out where I'm going to school yet. I've gotten accepted into my top options though. I'm looking to study business and marketing.
Oh, nice. Fantastic. And if you and your parents want to come up here and grab this and take a picture with all of us, we would love to have a picture with you.
Thank you.
Awesome, congratulations. All right, and our other ACE Award winner is from Fort Walton Beach High School. Emily, pronounce your last name.
Coty.
That's what I was gonna say, but Miss Barnes tried to French it up a little bit more, and I thought, man, if I say this, if you and your family want to step up to the podium. All right, Miss Emily Cote embodies civic excellence through impressive academic achievement, compelling extracurriculars, robust work experience, and various awards. With a weighted GPA of 4.69 and a class rank of 5, she's distinguished herself in dual enrollment while also being recognized as a Viking Scholar and recipient of the Ann T. Mitchell Award. As a member of the Beta Club, National Honor Society, Vikings Ladies, Leadership Club, and Community Outreach Chair of HOSA, Emily has a serious effort on the improvement of our local academic community. Additionally, she has work experience at the Holiday Inn Resort and Gulf Area Marine Adventure Park. Her leadership, intellect, and deep involvement with community programs extol the highest virtues of civic responsibility. Congratulations, Emily. And do you have any school picked out, and what do you plan to study?
I'm hoping to go to the University of Florida, and I want to study pre-med.
Fantastic. That would be great. Yeah, come up here and get this award and take a picture with us as well.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Congratulations, John. All right, so that brings us to item 9.3, resolution. Mr. Burns.
Well, actually, it doesn't need to be read, but this particular resolution, I believe actually I'll let maybe Mr. Schmidt sort of lead it up, but I was asked last Friday to put it together because they being Mr. Davis, Mr. Schmidt, as the TPO representative, I think had a meeting with some local leaders, and they indicated that the 1B option, which everyone was a little fuzzy about not being included at the presentation last Tuesday at the convention center, was not included. And I think they all realized it became apparent that despite the fact that the city had pushed 1B, either calling it 2B or 1B over about a 6-7 year period, really after the February 2024 meeting, I think, which was like the kickoff meeting at the Emerald Coast Convention Center, there was never really like an official position taken by the city pushing 1B after that. And so I think that led possibly to some miscommunication with the FDOT, and they went with 1A as the only option, or no build at all as the other option at the meeting last week. That's obviously led to a lot of people not being happy with that, and I think Mr. Schmidt can kind of give you some more details on that.
Mr. Payne, quick question.
Daniel, come on up. Did we lose the microphone?
It's on there.
Oh, sorry.
From a technical standpoint, traffic flow, mission readiness, we get one chance to do this. 1A or 1B, what data substantiates that improvement?
As far as the metrics, first of all, not a traffic guy, right? Straight from the report, the metrics on 1B are an improvement versus 1A when you projected stuff out to, you believe, 2050 or 2030, different percentages on, you got all segments going around, but 1B, the traffic metric options in travel times were less than 1A, probably because there's one less signalized intersection.
Gotcha.
If I were just
Clogs the artery.
common sense.
Which one would have less land acquisitions?
I do believe, once again, from their report, I think 1A had a lower construction cost, but maybe more right-of-way acquisition, and 1B had a higher construction cost, but lower property acquisition, with the total tag on B being, I don't know, between 3 and 5%, maybe more.
So about a 3 to 5% financial impact, but less property owners and parcels being impacted through the right-of-way construction.
I do believe from the data that was submitted, that is true.
Okay. Do you think that we could, by having, if there was support to get 1B, you know, opening up more access to downtown through the walkability side by it being elevated instead of at grade. Less traffic to have to cross the street on and those kind of things.
There's probably more opportunity to, I would think, depending on where, you know, the overpass portions or MSC walls or whatever you want to call it are, yeah.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Anyone else questions for Mr. Payne?
I do. Thank you for that. I spoke with Jeff yesterday, I believe it was, just trying to get my head wrapped around this. What would you say, just hearing you there, what would you say drove, let me say this, I'm surprised that we've made it this far down the road on the largest capital project our city's ever faced, and DOT, who's heading it up, didn't know, inquire, hear our preferences. They just went merrily along saying, we'll pick one. I'm not going to talk to the city about it. Was kind of, and I don't expect you to know that answer. I'm just saying that I'm surprised by that. And then, so what would you say was the driving, if you know, the driving factor for DOT's decision to choose 1A as opposed to 1B or other options that were out there?
Purely speculative, but bottom tag number, bottom line dollar. And then I think those of you who were at the presentation, they mentioned Indian Mountain a couple times, at least.
So 1A is cheaper than 1B. 1B includes the flyovers. And I saw it today, late in the day, there's 2 flyovers, is that correct, on the 1B that is this body looking to approve? It's got 2 bridges, I think it showed.
I do believe so. Yeah, and they're, you know, they're not long ways. It's just, you know, a gap when going over the roads.
And this is probably just from, I would say, social media, where I had seen it come out. I believe the city page had posted some renderings or sites overviews, and I thought it was really neat initially, months ago it seems, might have been a year or so ago, but it was the images then, and it was fictional, I guess you would say, came off Okaloosa Island Bridge and immediately started taking an elevated approach around there, and then it came and landed down, I don't know, at DeFrance area, somewhere thereabouts. So that's not 1B. 1B is flat until it reaches some point around the library, elevates and goes back down, and then the one going north on Eglin is an elevated that comes to those 2 places, because I've not.
So it's one thing it's hard to look at it without, you know, without seeing it. But generally speaking, yeah, there's 2 overpasses on that side.
Flat to about the library, and then elevated, or somewhere maybe east of it, just a little bit.
Yeah, I think there's one coming southbound on 85
Gotcha.
to 98 going, and then the other is, I think, in the area you mentioned.
Gotcha. Okay. That's all I got now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Anyone else questions for Mr. Payne? Seeing none, does anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Yes, sir, Mr. Smith.
Robert Smith, good evening. I was a little bit confused about this when I saw this come up on the agenda. It wasn't, I didn't catch it last week, and somebody pointed it out to me. But I went back through the background information that was published, and I went back and read all of these minutes that are listed on here. And I think there's some confusion, because I was surprised to be hearing, when I read the resolution, that this had all been supported for all these years, and this is what the council had voted on. But as I got back through, when I found out what they actually voted on was Transportation Alternative 2B, it didn't include any flyovers. What they were voting on was a route. They weren't voting on flyovers. So, you know, before you make a decision tonight, there needs to be some public discussion about what the public wants, and there needs to be discussion amongst the council on whether that's the best way to go. I mean, it's not something, it's definitely not something that's been pre-decided or voted on by this council before. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this? Yes, sir. Just tell us your name and address, please.
Sure. I'm Jeff Watson. I live in Shalimar. I have a couple of comments. If they're not germane, just tell me. I'll go sit down. All right. So I attended the presentation last week by the Department of Transportation. I'm surprised with the presentation that was given there and the conversation we've had so far here, how far down the road it appears we are without adequate preparation by the state of Florida. I don't think there's enough comment from the public. There's still a lot of questions. Just listen to the interchange between Mr. Schmidt and the first speaker about what actually you're going to get here in the city of Fort Walton Beach. If nothing is done and they proceed with a build, what we were told last week, it's a study at this point for 5 years. But there shouldn't be any confusion at this point, I would think, if we're good to go. If the city of Fort Walton Beach is ready to receive a Around the Mound construction, I would think all of you would know what it looks like. I would like to know, even though I live in Shalimar, we drive through here all the time. We're your neighbors. So I would like to think that everyone would already know what we're getting, and I don't think that's where you are. So I think that the conversation with the state should be to slow this process down and understand what you're getting. It's like buying a pig in a poke. As to the presentation last week, it was $320 million versus $295, and I think his comment was correct. It came down to $1, which is a crazy determination, considering the last time the bridge was built was in the 60s. It's an 8% difference between the two. And I think that the buildings that are being taken, potentially with 1A that would not be with 1B, I don't know what the trade-off is with that. I don't think that there is a price tag on that because there's a lot of value associated with that. We attended church in downtown Fort Walton Beach. Cornerstone Church is a brand new church. And so there's a lot of questions that we have as members of that church as to what the future of that area, which will be with 1A, will be basically part of that big green space. And that's supposed to be, I think, part of the water runoff or something to that effect. All of us should know, and I think more study needs to go into that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
We're in the PD&E phase, and you're right, Mr. Watson, we don't know because the design product hasn't been developed. Very similar to building a house, you got the blueprints that are going to build the house. The design phase will come, and then the construction phase. There'll be a long due process to continue. I wish we could have the bulldozers out ASAP to get it going, but there will be more due process in this project to include the design product.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, council, do you wish to take any action?
Mayor moves to approve the staff-provided resolution supporting the Around the Mound Alternative 1B.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Schmidt, seconded by Councilman Jeter to approve Resolution 2025-31 supporting the Around the Mound Alternative 1B project. Additional comments?
Yes, sir. To kind of give a little more background as well, when we left that PD&E presentation at the conference center, I believe FDOT's turnaround was about a 10-day response they needed by December the 19th, I believe it was. Recently, there was a request to extend it so that we could have this kind of public conversation because FDOT's limited window would have meant that we wouldn't have even had this conversation. So they granted the request to extend it to, I believe, January 31st. That allowed us to have this part of the due process to give FDOT a response. The perspective that I have is we have one time to continue to try to mitigate and improve what a very prominent stakeholder that is in our community, which is our Department of Defense. We're hearing a lot about the need to improve mission readiness. I'm like Mr. Payne, I'm not a traffic guy, but the data that report is showing us and that Public Works is telling us, 1B is improving that. I respect FDOT's recommendation. If it's because it's a higher contract cost, or if it's because of the Indian Temple Mound or parts of it, I think those kind of things can continue to get scrubbed out. But the perspective of trying to improve the traffic flow is literally mission critical. And we're only going to have this kind of time to do those kind of things. Second, I think it continues to have a conversation of what we can do to expand the vibrancy and the canvas of our downtown. Not to drill too much in the weeds, but long after we're gone and the design phase is done and the right-of-way and construction cost still needs about $250 million to fund. So we're a long ways away. And that money's going to go somewhere, whether it's the state puts it somewhere else or puts it here. But where I'm going with this is that we have to make a decision that respectfully disagrees with FDOT's recommendation to get it the way that we, the city of Fort Walton Beach, believe it needs to be. As we drill in deeper, though, I'd love to continue growth management at that time and city leadership to make sure the architectural standards of what's going on underneath the overpass is critical as well. There's been a lot of progress this past year, 2 or 3, on removing the blighted,ness, removing the vagrancy, and those kind of environmental things that defer people from wanting to come to Fort Walton. So as this project around the mound, I believe, will improve the vibrancy, improve the traffic flow, but continue to take examples from other communities around the country to make sure there's an environment underneath those overpasses that has a palette for people to, like those ACE awards, to hopefully move back here, hopefully to stay here. We need talent to come to Fort Walton, and I'm going to stop there. So.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak? Councilman Junior.
I will certainly be supporting the motion, all for many of the reasons that Councilmember Schmidt said, and there were some great points brought tonight. At one point in time, we were just approving the route. Now that we kind of have a route semi-approved, we're going back to the state and to the design side of it. We saw many pictures of many different bridges before we eventually, even on different roads from Hollywood to Wright Parkway. We're in that phase until we actually get the final product as to what we're going to get. This is just continuing the conversation. And mission readiness, that is a word we hear a lot in a lot of places we go. Tourism is number 2, number 1 is military. Military is telling us, drive a few miles that way and look at the difference in an overpass and a stoplight. They're going to get behind and support an overpass down here, and I think that we should try to do it as well.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak on this? Councilman Walter.
Yeah, make sure I got it right, David. You'll probably help. 1A is what the DOT is recommending. It's the lesser expensive of the 1A and 1B. And then Mr. Smith brought up a point, and it was, I was kind of, as this all came up and I saw this here, and I'm like, man, it's been a long project, so I've been trying to rack my brain going back all the time. I'm like, man, I didn't see an elevated anything until in the last 6 months, year, maybe. Seems like it came out on social media, maybe the Facebook channel did it here, whatever, and I said, well, that looks pretty neat, that's pretty cool, but again, it was the one that came from the bridge, elevated all the way across, and I said, well, that's pretty neat, there'll be a lot of stuff going on underneath it, so now we're just coming down to the western portion of it downtown. There will be a portion going north and east and west there, so I don't know, what would you say its overall, benefit to downtown is? I like the looks of a flyover. I really like the one from the bridge over. And so what would you say is the primary benefit that I guess DOT chose not to value that high? Where do we disagree with DOT at?
Like what we heard tonight, the contract cost. That's where we disagree. I think FDOT wants to move forward. And again, they were going to have to move forward after 10 days after that PD&E presentation at the conference center. If we didn't have what we're having right now, a response, they were going to continue with their recommendation. We have one time to improve the traffic flow as well, I think was where the downtown benefits too. I don't know the economics impacts of it, but if base realignment and closure and different things from our DOD installations are having to get repositioned because of the traffic, I think downtown would be hurt dramatically.
Yeah, because I'm just having trouble seeing the the improved traffic flow from a ground level versus an elevated at a $25-ish million, if I heard the numbers right. There's a $25 million bump up if we go with those two elevated. Is that about the right number as you understand it?
Somewhere between a 5% and 8% total contract increase, but my understanding, it removes at least one light, which very similar to the bridge project that our community's seeing now. When that light at the east side of the Brooks Bridge is removed, and at Santa Rosa Boulevard, when everyone's leaving the public beach, and that's a junction with Highway 98, when that artery is unclogged, the traffic's going to flow so much better just with that one light. Now, on the west end, this is the program we're talking about now, where the scope of the bridge project ends, around the mound begins. We have to continue to complement how to remove and break up those arteries so the traffic can continue to flow. And then it doesn't stop. The TPOs prioritize west of us, Highway 98 by Hurlburt, to continue to improve the traffic flow.
Yeah, I got you. I looked at the two pictures of 1A and 1B, and the ground level versus the elevated, I didn't recognize I didn't see another red light there because it was around the mound, was zipping them on along down here to, or actually back up here now. So anyway, I just...
There'll still be a design product I believe one of our state appropriations requests that we're asking to get funding from our state delegation is money to help fund the design. The city and the county have matched some funding as well to fund the design. So we still got to construct, and develop what the actual design is, because nobody knows exactly until what that blueprint looks like.
Have you thought any about the 8%, if it is 24 million on 300 million, to 24 million, but that 5 or 8%, 20 million, thereabouts. With the state, the DOT saying, hey guys, we're approving 1A, it's at a price of X. You guys voted, you want the upgraded version, and therefore you got to come up with the money. Has that been kicked around, or a consideration that you've heard kicked around? Is that a possibility that the state would say, because you guys wanted an upgraded version, it's going to have to come from y'all, whether it's property taxes or sales tax or anything else? Has that come up that you're aware of?
Yeah, we're relying on our federal delegation, our state delegation, our county, and our city, and hopefully purses like the Triumph to fund these programs. And not just this program, but we need funding for other programs around this community to improve the traffic flow. One of the climate surveys that we get from our community is how horrible the traffic is. This is a project that some are going to not like the decision we make, some are going to like it, but the data that we're seeing is 1B improves the traffic flow. And everybody that we see, like you mentioned on social media or others, how bad traffic is on Highway 98. We got data that this improves it compared to 1A.
Compared to 1A, okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Councilman Miller.
I had a lot of questions because I attended that meeting, and so what I got from that, so if I could provide clarity to some of the things you were asking, is for the past 6 or almost 7 years, I think, as they move forward with this project, different options have kind of dropped off, and this was that final 1A, the at grade, or no build. Those are the two options. And I think it naturally happened that 1B was dropped because, one, price tag, and then there was very little input from the residents at the point. I think they had a sampling size of like 25 people, and what I heard was around 15, 16, 17 voted for 1A. And so they're like, well, if there's not really any pushback and this is the cheaper option, it just naturally became. So here, I think we're going, it's becoming more real, like it often does in meetings. As things progress, all of a sudden you're going to vote on something and a lot of people show up all of a sudden. And so we're looking at like, oh wait, before we just move forward with either the no build, if we provide too many hiccups along the way or too many objections, which is a possibility, and before we get put into this 1A option, we're coming back and going, more people have seen it. We're seeing the effect of 74 businesses at the at grade. We're seeing at least one extra light at grade. There's many other reasons. So this is, even though it's more expensive, and I don't even know if they have the full impact numbers of those 74 businesses that will have lawsuits with eminent domain. So I don't even know if that number of that 295 is completely accurate, because how could it be before that's all settled? So to go 8% more to improve the traffic situation, which is what we want to do, we're coming together from the Chamber of Commerce, the city, and all this information going respectfully to the DOT. Would you consider bringing 1B back as the option instead of 1A? And I mean, that's from my understanding what we're trying to do, because it will be less impactful on the businesses, better for the traffic overall. And even though it was more expensive and the DOT moved forward, it wasn't that they were like, well, this is what we want to drive, and now you're asking for something more expensive. It was, you're an agency that's less expensive, there's not a lot of pushback. Obviously, that's going to, just to me, it's like the path of least resistance. So I think we have an option here, as big as this is going to be, to pull back and try to get what I also agree is the better option. And before we're too far in and we get in the design phase, that's why I'll be supporting this. And I hope that, like, some clarity on where that came about.
It does help me, and it brings me back to the question I have for Mr. Schmidt, and it's still there. My question is still there. I'm picturing the state being a builder, and they're like, hey, we picked this one's the least expensive, and we come to them and say, hey, we want the upgrade model. They say, sure, no problem. It's going to cost you $22 million extra. So then the question comes back to where are we getting the money? And I understand state, federal, and all of our legislators and everything else, but we don't have that yet.
Nothing there in presentation implied that like we would have to pay for an upgraded version. You can tell me if I'm, but I think that was just the cost of that. I mean, just as if the eminent domain came in and the cost skyrocketed, we wouldn't be responsible. I think they're approving, and if anybody does different, if they approve that federal budget, I couldn't imagine, I mean, I don't want to misspeak, but I mean, we would know before it happened.
And that's what's good of whether it's stall or not stall the program is roughly $200 million by 2028 is the right-of-way and construction cost. This conversation right here, FDOT's done their homework on 1A and 1B.
Yeah.
They said, like you said nicely, they brought us out a recommendation. During the due process time, we're politely responding. The biggest holdup is the funding, because right-of-way and construction costs has not been funded. And that's when we have to continue to lobby with our federal delegation, our state delegation, that we need to improve traffic flow, admission readiness, and the quality of life in Fort Walton Beach. And this is one small way to do it.
I mean, I would just add to this conversation as well, that one way or the other, what the main question that you're asking, your main concern about, will they say, hey, we were gonna fund this, but now you're gonna, I don't think that's something that would possibly happen. Like you said, is it possible? Anything's possible. Is it likely? I would say no. Because one way or the other, you're just putting this total price tag forward and saying, hey, we think this project's really important. As Councilman Schmidt said, our delegation, our representatives higher up than us are saying, hey, we think this is important too, and at some point we're either going to get it or not get it. But at least this tells them this is what we want to support.
And by the time there's actually a shovel in the ground, this price tag is going to change tremendously.
Maybe to help squash that concern, 20 years county dude, I'm still learning my way in the city. I don't think statutorily I can use ad valorem city taxes to pay for a state road. So maybe a question for Mr. Burns, but I couldn't do it with county funds.
I don't think you could.
So we're just hoping that by asking them nicely, we paid for the PD&E study for $1 million, I see that. And then for them to, but anyway, I don't know why we're.
The only downside, Councilman Walker, is it's going to end up on a spreadsheet, and they're all going to have numbers attached to it. Right. And then they're all going to have priorities. So when they look at that and say, well, this one's $292 million, okay, well, maybe we can fit that in on this because we have $300 million to play with. Now we're over that. And again, that's arbitrary numbers. It's guessing. Yeah. But that's really the only downside to it. The elimination of the traffic light, as has been spoken about, is probably the main upside.
So theoretically then, that bump up of over 300
projects.
Right. So it gets bumped up and we get bumped down, or they go with the 1A or the no build option. So really,
or just you go to the back of the list and wait again for next year is probably more likely.
And the people who bump up and bump down and bump around are the Okaloosa and Walton Transportation Planning Organization.
Right.
They have the priority list of what projects are racked and stacked. Not us, not FDOT. FDOT executes what the Transportation Planning Organization has prioritized. So we're currently number 4. There's 2 separate Highway 85 project widenings in front of us, as well as the Hurlburt Field project. That's what determines whether or not the project keeps going on, not a 5% increase in cost. If the TPO board or the politics of that board changes over the next 4 to 6 to 8 years, that project could go up or could go down. That's what sets the priority for FDOT. State legislation and the federal legislation have to find and work towards finding the funding for those prioritized projects that the Okaloosa-Walton Transportation Planning Organization has prioritized.
All right, anyone else with a comment on this motion that's been made? Council, please vote. The motion does pass 6-1. All right, that brings us back to item 6, or I'm sorry, 5.3.
4.
Parade winners.
4. 5.4.
5.3.
Oh, is it?
Parade winners.
Birthday.
Mayor, City Council members, Dave Flaherty, Parks and
Well, he
Recreation.
announced it.
We're here obviously to do the presentation of the awards for the parade that we just had on December 2nd. It was a Tuesday. It was a very cold and windy night.
It was.
I remember it very well. I'm sure you do too. But it was the Fort Walton Beach. We held our annual community Christmas parade. We estimated attendance was somewhere between 9,000 and 10,000. There were 95 entries that made up this year's parade. Before recognizing the parade winners, I'd like to thank the members of the recreation staff, particularly Janice. Where'd she go? There you go. Janice, who is the staff coordinator and organizer of the parade. This was her first year doing it. I think she did a great job. Wendy was a big help in that, along with Pat. Pat, can you raise your hand? Sean, Polly, and members of the Park Division that are not here. I'd also like to thank Police Chief Page and his officers, especially Officer Terrence James. Many of the staff know him as Tiger. Had an opportunity to meet him. Officer James was a traffic officer. He got the 2 different lineups to merge in the proper order to get to Eglin. Did a great job. Fire Chief Shipman and his firefighters, Daniel Payne and the Public Works utility staff, City of Valparaiso, which provided one of their street sweepers for the cleanup. And certainly I want to thank you for your participation along with the city staff that were part of the entries in the parade. So now for the parade winners. Can I have the envelope, please? Oh, wrong program, sorry. So our first award goes for Best Service, and it goes to the crew of Columbus.
Let's go through Columbus.
Okay.
Come on, James. Thank you.
The second award for Best Marching goes to Fort Walton Beach High School and Bruner Middle School bands. The next award goes to Best Youth, the Fort Walton Beach High School cheerleaders.
Thank you.
Next is Best Religious, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. For Best Commercial, and that goes to Walmart Superstore.
Let's go Walmart. Walmart couldn't be here tonight. They're open.
Okay. Busy time of year.
Mayor, that concludes the presentations.
Thank you, Mr. Flaherty. And before we move on, just want to echo the sentiments there of Mr. Flaherty. Fantastic job. All the parades that we do throughout the year here in the city are really well put together, I think, and never hear really any negative feedback. You only see a lot of screaming, excited kids, which is really what it's all about. So thanks to everybody in the Parks Department that works on this. City of Fort Walton Beach employee recognitions, Mr. Davis.
Thank you. All right, our first victim is Charles Pettis with 20 years in the Fort Walton Beach Police Department.
All right.
Next, Mr. let's see, Marcus Shoemaker from our Finance Department.
Did you say 50 years on his?
Started when he was 8.
Close. It's getting close.
All right, and our final recipient is Robert Ridgway with 25 years.
Brings us, council, to the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Got a motion by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilwoman DeBerry to approve tonight's consent agenda. Any additional comments, council?
No, sir.
Council, please vote. Okay. Unanimous consent. That brings us to item 7, mayor and council comments. We start with Mr. Walker. Thank you, sir. Mr. Brown.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I'm gonna read it this, so I don't word vomit. So I would like to request that the city manager have staff bring back a presentation at our next council meeting outlining what a 2-day per week residential pickup system with a designated recycling day would look like, including projected costs. I would also ask that those costs be compared to the residential and commercial sanitation rates currently charged by the city of Destin and the city of Crestview, and be included in that same presentation. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Talking trash.
Do you know that Crestview has 2 pickups?
I don't, so just what it is.
Thank you, sir. Ms. DeBerry.
Pardon me?
That's you.
Oh, no, I'm okay.
Okay. Councilman Jeter.
I'll say for the end.
Councilman Merrill.
Just a quick one. I've been taking part more in city things as since I've become a councilman. And there's a few I'll mention. I can do it at the end, but I'm going to shout out Gareth Stearns because I see him. It was so exciting, like seeing what Choctaw did, and I don't think I would have got tied in. I don't think the community would have got tied in had you not provided the service you provide. One of the things at that Final Four game that I heard from everybody, old alumni, old friends that I went to school with there at Choctaw, that was the most packed the stands had, like they could ever remember it being. And obviously, big shout out to the football team and the coaches. They did that, but your part in rallying support behind them, just everything that I've been doing with the community, stuff like that's awesome. So just every individual, every member of the community that goes to things that does extra, it's huge. And I think it was fun for so many people to kind of get back into that. So I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it. Agreed. Yeah, we can clap. Councilwoman Riley.
Mayor, at this time, I would just like to thank the city. Kim, thank you so much for preparing such a wonderful travel book for me, but I wanted to thank the city for allowing me to be able to participate in the committees in the Florida League of Cities. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot as a new council member. I think it was an honor for me to be able to be present there. Don't want to spend a lot of the city's money, so traveling here or there, but I can tell you it was well worth it, and I think it was a good decision. To have Councilman DeBerry and I both, to be able to travel there, just learned a whole lot. I really did. And so I just want to thank you all so much. And, as we all know, in January, the legislation will be coming out. And so some of the decisions that we made for the whole state of Florida, the cities in the state of Florida, on our legislative policy committee, I think we came up with some pretty good ideas and drafted a finalization. Things to include, property rights and different things like that. So thank you all so much. I'm privileged to be able to
We're probably
attend.
gonna have to stop that though.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you guys go, she brings me back more and more. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Just a real quick one from me as well. Just wanted to wish a belated happy 100th birthday to Regina Sterling, right next door over here. Unfortunately, she had a 100th birthday party, and I was driving back from Atlanta. I would have much rather been there than caught in Atlanta gridlock traffic. So, happy belated birthday. That moves us to public comments. Anyone from the public wishing to comment on anything that is not on tonight's agenda, come on down and we'll give you 5 minutes. We just ask that you tell us your name and where you live. Nope. There we go. Come on down.
My apologies for being the only one.
Not necessary.
Dave Hancock. I live at 113 Brook Street in Fort Walton Beach. Here for 2 reasons. First, I want to say thank you. I was out walking with one of my neighbors in the landing. I think it was Wednesday or Tuesday last week. And we noticed one of those power stations is all through the landings. Somebody had backed into one, it looked like, or ran it over, don't know what, but it was knocked down. The wooden structure was broken, there was wires everywhere. And so I took a picture, and the only person's email I had was Mr. Schmidt. So I sent it to him and asked him to forward that to Mr. Davis. And they had that stanchion replaced in a day. That's fantastic service. Say what?
That's Mr. Payne, but yes,
Oh, okay.
thank you.
But that was a great, great service. I really appreciate that. Other thing, this is something that I don't need to, but I just want y'all to think about this. We've been watching the work in the landing progress for a long time, and I think there's light at the end of the tunnel because the amphitheater is getting finished, those concrete bleachers are getting finished, and I would like, in my life, I'm 76, right? In my lifetime, to be able to sit in a concert down there and watch one, get that thing finished. If you look at what we've got now, when we finish what's in progress, you know, the customers for that playground, the kids are happy as clams with what they got. Most people like the idea of the concerts. We finish that up. Everybody's going to be happy. As I understand, it's going to cost over $1 million to finish up that little bit of what we got left. Do we need to spend that money? I'm serious. Do we need to spend over $1 million to finish up that little bit? There's other things we could spend this money on, like there's parks have been approved. Do we have the staff to keep support those parks? We need more police officers, right? Do we really need to spend that over $1 million to finish up a little bit of that landing? And what I don't want to see is somebody gets in there and we have another multi-year project for just that little bit. It's been long enough. You know, now if you even try and walk down along the walkway, the workers there yell at you, you're trespassing, you shouldn't be in here. And I'm sick of that too. But sometimes you need to declare victory and move on. I think that's the situation here. We got the amphitheater, the children are happy, the adults are happy. We don't need to spend any more money. Just think about that, okay? Like I said, there's other things we need to spend that money on. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hancock. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on anything not on tonight's agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to resolutions. And resolution 2025-29, Mr. Burns.
Okay, Mayor, this resolution is to amend 2023-2022, which is the resolution the council passed back on December 12th of 2023 regarding the procedures for council meetings and procedure for how the council kind of operates outside of meetings. The reason for this particular resolution kind of just is to sort of create a safeguard for partially for Ms. Barnes, because she's the individual who always gets contacted.
Hey guys, Mr. Hancock, I'm having a lot of trouble hearing you. Sorry. Attention.
But also Mr. Davis and myself as the charter officers, we kind of are the ones that communicate with y'all at the most. And sometimes if the mayor ever needs to decline an invitation, like he indicated at the lovely young lady's 100th birthday, like he indicated, then this will set up a process to where he would just notify Ms. Barnes, and then she'll go down the list. The first person she would contact would be the Mayor Pro Tem. If Mr. Schmidt can't handle it, then she would then contact a council member, and that selection would be based on a rotating order, alphabetical, kind of how y'all do the comments here at your meetings. The first person that we contacted would be Mr. Browning, because he's B. And if he declines it or accepts it, it doesn't really matter, because the next time Mr. Berry would be contacted if the Mayor Pro Tem declines an invitation to fill in for the mayor. And so this process will just kind of, I think, ease things, because I think the issue's only ever arisen, oddly enough, on times when y'all don't have council meetings. And so it's not easy to find a quick replacement for one of y'all. And so this is a kind of a resolution that's being generated more by, I'd say partially myself, Ms. Barnes, and there's at least one council member not present who sort of spurred the genesis of this particular resolution.
Thank you, sir. Any questions on this for either Ms. Barnes or Mr. Burns? Mr. Walker.
This is that procedure there for, the mayor can't make it, Mayor Pro Tem, and the procedures there. That's the only thing that's changing in the rules, procedures, right?
Correct. There's a whereas clause that refers to it.
Gotcha. Yeah. I thought it was. I looked through it, didn't see any other red, so yes, thank you. That's it.
Who else? Mr. Brown?
If we're making changes to the original resolution, is this time, can we throw out other other changes that we'd like to see in this resolution?
Sure.
You could either accept this tonight, and then if you want to make additional changes, we could, if you want to change this, obviously, if you're talking about making additional changes to other portions of it, I would ask y'all to accept this here tonight, just so Ms. Barnes, over the Christmas break, can, in case there's a lot of these type of events, but if you want, at any time, y'all can bring this up and decide y'all want to make further changes to this.
Anyone else? Questions? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this? Council, you wish to take any action?
So moved to adopt Resolution 2025-29, amending Resolution 2023-122, rules of procedure for city council meetings.
Second. Motion made by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilwoman Riley to approve Resolution 2025-29. Any additional comments?
I think like a lot of other things we've done tonight, it's good to just establish a procedure, so now we know we have something to follow, a guideline, and yeah, resolution only takes one reading, so I'm interested in anything else you'd like to change going forward as well.
Anyone else? Councilman Merrill?
No, I don't have anything.
Oh, you second. My bad.
I don't know if it matters.
I just heard it over here in my ear. All right, council, please vote. And it does pass unanimously, which moves us to Resolution 2025-30, a resolution to adopt a Vision Zero policy on traffic deaths and serious injuries. Is Chief Beige here? Who's presenting this one? Daniel. Oh, sorry.
Hello, Mayor and Council. Tonight before you have a resolution related to the existing Safe Streets for All grant that we got. There's a couple of you on the council at the time when we were notified we received this grant, and I think I first think it's important to say we are no different than anybody else when it deals with the federal government. We have been trying to get this executed for a long time. We had Doge, we had shutdowns, we had this, we had that. We had 3 different city managers sign it before they were okay. It's really been one of the most frustrating things I've personally had to deal with on this one. But fast forward, you guys can see the background, but basically at the end of September, we had it all signed and ready, and that was a 80-20 grant for Safe Streets for All. This is separate from the Tri-County deal. This is just the cities. And the first step in being eligible for some of this funding is to create a safety action plan. Part of that safety action plan is a resolution of support to eliminate traffic deaths with a measurable time frame. It's really kind of like going down the checklist of what we needed to do to complete it. But you'll see in there that we have committed to 0 traffic deaths by 2045. There's a couple other municipalities that have that. It was either 0 deaths by 2045 or it was 90%. And if we figured if we're going as high as something like that on the percentage wise, like let's just go for the goal of 0. But this is, basically moving through the checklist for the citywide safety action plan, which would then identify some of these segments that we have, some of these problems specific to the city, and then we'd be eligible for implementation grants once this is finished in the future. This was kind of like the first step. Then we would have moved on, you can see in some of the backup, to a board and committee, and we have one already with PD that we'd like to utilize in the county. But having said that, that's what this is on the resolution. If you have any questions, I can do my best to answer them at that time.
Thank you, sir. Questions for Mr. Payne on this resolution? Councilman Walker?
Trying to understand how it's built. So we submitted for and we won a grant to create a safety plan. Kimley Horn is going to be the grant is going to be used to pay Kimley Horn to create our safety plan, correct?
Correct.
And Kimley Horn, aren't they the ones that did our previous traffic studies and all?
Yeah, they were, at the point in time of this, they were our transportation-specific general consultant that we had at the time. So they let us know the grant and they applied for us and did all the work on that side.
Gotcha. And that all brings me back to probably one simple question. I know at the time it made a big splash, it seems, but what is the status of the traffic circle? What are they called?
For Hollywood?
Yes. Yeah. And the road DEET.
Yes.
Where are things with that? It's kind of been quiet.
So we just received 60% design plans from HDR, who's the one that was doing that. It's, a roundabout, but no diet, really.
Okay, just a roundabout?
Pedestrian facilities and improvements and intersection improvements and all that, but yeah, no, it's 4-lane until you get to the roundabout, basically to get around. It's not a 4-lane roundabout.
So east of the roundabout continues to be 4 lanes all the way down? Because that seemed to get the most splash.
Yes, sir, that's what we kind of settled on from the public comment.
But on those 4 lanes, there's going to be some pedestrian either in the middle or on the sides, is that?
No middle, all on the sides.
On the sides.
Completed sidewalk / multi-use path on it. Like I said, it's 60% on that end.
Gotcha.
We just got them in Friday, so,
So it'll be on the south side of Hollywood. It'll be east of the roundabout, south of Hollywood. There's going to be a 12-foot multimodal. Is that what it's called?
I can only say that there'll be some type of path on both sides. The actual width, we're trying to get, one bigger than the other just for a true multi-use. But as of right now, conceptually, it's pedestrian facilities on both sides.
Gotcha, and that's all done within the right-of-way, no land acquisition required? Mm-hmm. And we got 60% for the design, not for the construction. Is that correct?
Yeah, these are just design plans.
Gotcha.
The construction is budgeted within the project. That was part of the approved budget.
Gotcha. What was that number? Do you remember for that project?
I think it was $3 million that we settled on that.
$3 million?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Allocated through the year.
Because there's a much bigger number if we were going to take it down to 2 roads, right? 2 lane. Sorry.
They're all kind of in the ballpark of the same on that side.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
I'm trying to be easygoing Christmas mayor here tonight, but let's keep it on the.
That was right.
Talking about. I know. I felt you.
I felt the Santa. I felt the Santa in you.
And I liked the information. Question, Councilman.
Obviously, a lot of things come to you and they're gift wrapped. Who would not want a zero debt? But I just, in my limited knowledge, I'm like, if I had to do that in the next week, there would be a lot of restrictions and things.
Yeah.
Do we know what we're committing to as far as costs, restrictions that could be implemented? Are we going to have a lot more lights and speed zone cameras, going down the road like they do in some countries? Are we opening ourselves to say, yeah, we want to commit to this? And do you know?
So, no. I mean, we obviously we have a plan that we wanted to be city specific and not over a tri-county area, right? Like we know some of the state roads that we have here are going to get most of the attention on some of those. This would be a little bit more detail in the city street stuff. And, with the state thing, they're under DOT jurisdiction for those state roads, those big ones. The city local roads, we would have full control, but it's really related around the accidents, both for cars, pedestrians, cars, and vehicles, eliminating those. So I don't think I've seen any enforcement type, camera type situation on that end. It would be, hard improvements basically in the ground, roads, curbs, could be right in, right out, stuff like that.
So that's where the safety plan will come in. They'll target maybe like we did here at Beale and I think First Street, target areas like that where we've had accidents, problems, and we develop a plan to improve.
Let's just say like Hollywood, East of Eglin, something like that.
Okay.
have traffic death data. I think me and Nick worked together on stuff that before, high volume of accidents, how to make that thing safer. So it'd be kind of like, Mr. Walker brought it up, but that's probably a good example of one on that end. We just, we wanted to move on that one, but for stuff like that in the future, we could potentially have a funding mechanism on that side.
Appreciate it. Anyone else with a question for Mr. Payne on this? Seeing none, does anyone from the public wish to speak on this? Council, Mr.
Can you define multimodal?
Official definition, I think it's all, users of the transportation network, even ones that haven't even been made yet. So
let me clarify my question. I'm asking about the multimodal path because there's a lot of confusion. I keep hearing people talk about golf cart path, but golf carts would not be allowed on a multimodal path, would they?
Yeah, correct. Those of you who've dealt with this, we have low-speed vehicles that have tags. Those got to be on the roads. We have golf carts that have tags too, but yeah, this isn't golf cart paths for anything that we got.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this item? Council, do you wish to take any action tonight?
Mr. Mayor, so move to adopt Resolution 25-30 to adopt a Vision Zero policy setting the goal of eliminating all traffic deaths and serious injuries within the city by year 2045.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilman Browning to approve Resolution 2025-30. Any additional comments?
Yeah, all 5 of my kids will be on the road by that year, so I hope we accomplish this goal.
That might be working against the goal, right? Well, I guess we'll see. Putting more cars on the road. Mr. Berry.
I live near Bill Parkway, and I drive around the city quite a bit. And so many accidents because people want to turn right on red. And one night in particular, there was 3 major accidents. Bill and Memorial, Mary Esther and Bill, and also on Mary Esther Cutoff by Publix. 3 major accidents within 1 hour, and more and more and more. So, yeah, I'll be voting for this.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else wish to comment? Council, please vote. And it does pass unanimously, which brings us to item 10.1. Ordinances on second reading. Ordinance 2195, Mr. Burns.
Ordinance 2195, ordinance of the City of Fort Walton Beach, Florida, amending the charter of the City of Fort Walton Beach, adding a new section 8 titled City Election Dates without deleting any other provisions of the charter and renumbering the remainder of the charter if approved by the voters, providing for codification, providing for ballot question and summary, providing for an effective date. This is second reading. If it does pass tonight, this ordinance, then the ballot question will go to the March 10th, 2026 referendum.
Thank you, sir. Questions on this for Mr. Burns, City Attorney? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance on its second reading? Council, do you wish to take any action tonight?
So move to adopt Ordinance 2195.
Motion made by Councilman Jeter to adopt Ordinance 2195 is seconded by Councilman Merrill. Any additional comments?
No, sir.
Councilman Walker.
I meant to ask Jeff, but this I can do it. This is the resolution second reading, 9 through the ones. These are all a result of the Charter Review Committee, correct?
Actually, the first one, the one you're voting on right now is not. This is actually the result of a separate set of votes and discussions that y'all had over a series of meetings after the Charter Review Commission.
I got you.
One particular one's not.
I got you. It came after the Charter Review Committee.
Correct.
And our discussion. Right. I got it. Got you. Thank you. And I think the question was, and I might have asked it then, and I think I know the answer, but was there any public comment on this, no, this one was a result of our discussion, no public comment. I take that back. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Gotcha. Council, please vote. Does pass 4-2. Moves us to item 10.2 and ordinance 2196. Mr. Burns.
Ordinance 2196, an ordinance of the City of Fort Walton Beach, Florida, amending sections 3, 4, 5, 7, and 25 of the city charter, providing for a referendum on the charter amendment, providing for a ballot question, providing for a vote at the March 10th, 2026 election on whether to amend sections 3 through 5, 7, and 25 of the city charter to clarify the nonpartisan nature of the council seats, update term limit provisions, establish consistent procedures for filing council and mayoral vacancies, and provide flexibility in the establishment of filing fees for city elections, provide for coordination with the supervisor of elections, provide for conflicts, severability, and effective date. If you pass this tonight, it will go on second reading to the, or if you pass it on second reading, it will go to the March 10th, 2026 referendum. I do have one thing to note. There was a typo on this version that y'all are voting tonight. It said March 11th, 2026 election, but that's not the actual date of the referendum. It's March 10th.
I was just going to ask you that.
And the version, actually, it's printed out for you to sign tonight. It says March 10th. So.
10-4. All right, anyone questions for Mr. Burns on this? Anyone from the public wish to speak on ordinance 2196? Mr. Smith?
There you go. I hope to only do this one time. I'm not going to talk about the proposed charter amendments, but my objection is to the ballot language, and this would apply to all the ballot language. I think they're much too generic and ambiguous. They cover, this one we're looking at covers sections 3, 4, 5, 7, and 25, and there's numerous ones in here that cover more than half a dozen different sections. So, you know, I can't go through and pick what I support and what I don't support, and they don't tell me what the amendments are actually doing. I don't believe they comply with Florida Statute 101.161, which requires that the ballot title and summary must state in clear and unambiguous language the chief purpose of each amendment. I don't believe they do that. So before you move forward, I would suggest give Mr. Burns' opinion.
I disagree. So that's my opinion.
Gotcha. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this? Seeing none, council, please vote.
Mr. Mayor, so moved to adopt.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I thought we already had a motion.
So moved to adopt ordinance 2196.
All right. Motion made by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilman Browning. Any further comments?
I would say thank you, Mr. Smith, for bringing it to our attention. I'm going to rely on Mr. Burns, who has done his research and compiled these together in the correct legal way.
I researched it very extensively on this particular issue. I've looked at numerous other ballots from other referendums across the state, and I was actually very surprised at some, but these definitely comply with state law. So.
Got it. Thank you.
Councilman Walker.
I'm going to hold my, it is the same question, but it is on one of the ordinance, one of the other second readings, so I'll hold it for it, but it is on that same line of clarity and clear purpose. You're stating, Jeff, obviously, I mean, you prepared these, right? Mm-hmm. You're stating that you believe they meet the requirements of 101.61 with its clear purpose in each one of these ballot languages. You're
correct.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Now, council, please vote. And it does pass 5-1, which moves us to item 10.3 and ordinance 2197. Mr. Burns.
Ordinance 2197, an ordinance of the City of Fort Walton Beach, Florida, amending sections 6, 8, and 9 of the city charter, providing for a referendum on the charter amendment, providing for a ballot question, providing for a vote at the March 10th, 2026 election on whether to amend sections 6, 8, and 9 of the city charter to clarify that council meeting schedules are set by resolution and to strengthen certain disciplinary provisions for the council members, provide for coordination with the supervisor of elections, provide for conflicts, severability, and an effective date. This is second reading. If you do pass it on second reading tonight, it will go to the March 10th, 2026 election, and like the previous ordinance y'all voted on, it contains that typo saying March 11th.
Thank you, sir. Questions for Mr. Burns on this item? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this one? Council, do you wish to take any action tonight?
Mr. Mayor, so I move to adopt ordinance 2197.
Motion made by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilman Browning to approve ordinance 2197. Any additional comments?
Yes, sir.
Council, please vote. Does pass 5-1. Moves us to item 10.4 and ordinance 2198. Mr. Burns.
Ordinance 2198, an ordinance of the City of Fort Walton Beach, Florida, amending sections 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22 of the city charter, providing for a referendum on the charter amendment, providing for a ballot question, providing for a vote at the March 10th, 2026 election on whether to amend sections 11 through 14 and 16 through 22 of the city charter to remove outdated verbiage and amend the charter to facilitate more efficient daily operations of the City of Fort Walton Beach, provide for coordination with the supervisor elections, provide for conflict, severability, and an effective date. This is second reading. If you pass it tonight on second reading, it will go to the March 10th, 2026 election. Again, this contains the March 11th instead of March 10th, which is a typo.
Thank you, sir. Questions on ordinance 2198 for Mr. Burns? Would anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Council, do you wish to take any action tonight?
Mr. Mayor, so move to adopt ordinance 2198.
Motion made by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilman Browning to approve ordinance 2198. Any additional comments from the council? Councilman Walker?
Yeah, so 2198, I thought, did I miss the whole conversation? I mean, I voted no. Okay, it is 2198, so 97. I was looking around for the chief. Is the chief available?
We just have a bill, but we have Major Marlowe.
Okay, and it'll be for staff, and I'm sure that, and you may have, I'm not sure how long you've been here, but this one caught my attention because it has a lot to do with history of our city council and our city police and prior events. So, and Jeff, this would come in, this definitely comes into the question. It's clear purpose, reading it, administrative efficiency, and then we go and find out in the body of the ordinance itself, it discusses the restriction placed upon this body should it ever decide that it wishes to do any of the things mentioned there with the police department. So years ago, maybe, how long have you been here, sir, with the department?
A little over 23 years.
Okay, so then you'll remember years ago, I think it was probably about 2012, maybe 13, there was a budget process that was underway. The police budget was presented, and at the same time, Okaloosa County Sheriff's Department at the same time presented a consolidation bid. It proposed to provide the services of law enforcement to the city, to the people of the city, and it saved, I want to say that it proposed saving $2 million to the taxpayers. And shortly thereafter, as part of that process, the police department at the time, and I think it was pre-Chief Bays, I don't think he was here at that time, they went back and sharpened their pencils and saved $1 million. So that was the event. I looked at the study again tonight out in the parking lot. It was from 2013 on the consolidation, not the bid, but the study of consolidation. So saying all of that to recognize that while this talks about administrative efficiency, it actually enshrines and restricts, it enshrines the police department and restricts this body from doing what previously it would be available to do. If 4 members up here decided that we would like to entertain an offer from the Sheriff's Department to provide law enforcement services, we could do that. This change to the charter changes that. It's no longer possible if this charter amendment is placed upon ourselves, if we vote upon ourselves, we can no longer solicit a bid because it restricts mergers. Is that fair and accurate, or do you have some changes you'd like to correct me on?
Probably definitely be a question for Mr. Burns.
Yeah, I could answer.
Okay.
I mean, it in a roundabout way, yeah, would restrict mergers. Yeah.
Correct. And so what the timeline too that I'm talking about there, so we've got the initial consolidation bid by the sheriff's department, came to the police department. They sharpened the pencil, saved $1 million. Shortly thereafter, this body, not these people here, I'm pretty sure nobody was on it, maybe Nick, but anyway, it came back and they made a decision that to protect the police department from that in the future, they say it's going to have to be a unanimous vote up here if we are to, it's not dismantle, but do away with it completely, absolve it and merge completely with the sheriff's department. So that was pretty simple. You can see it in the writing here of this body. It lines through it. And then, so we've gone from 4 being able to decide to merge to a unanimous decision, which came after that, and now it's a unanimous decision and cannot be merged. So I caution this body that what we are, if we move forward with this, and if the voters, I do trust the voters will be informed and educated on it and won't pass it, but should this body pass it, we are restricting ourselves as representatives of taxpayers from ever merging this group with it. Now, with that being said, and this is where I want the chief, if you're watching, when you do watch this, I want you to check me on these numbers here because these are important. And this is the significance of the numbers we're talking about here. So bear with me. Recently, the city of Destin contracted with the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Department for 3.1 or 3.3 million, I believe it is. I have this on fairly good information, but I do want the chief to check me on these numbers here and compare it with the county. It's my understanding that the city of Destin last year received 36,000 calls into the police department. They handled those 36,000 calls with 17 officers at a budget of $3.3 million. It's my understanding as well, and the chief can check me on this as well. The city of Fort Walton Beach received 31,000 calls, and we have 53 uniformed officers at a cost of $9+ million. So should this pass and should the voters pass it, there's a $6 million spread right there in being able to consider services from the sheriff's department. So I just wanted to put that caution out there on this. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to comment on the ordinance? Seeing none, council, please vote. And the motion does pass 4-2. That moves us to ordinance 2199. Mr. Burns.
Ordinance 2199, an ordinance of the City of Fort Walton Beach, Florida, amending Section 33 of the city charter, providing for a referendum on the charter amendment, providing for a ballot question, providing for a vote at the March 10th, 2026 election on whether to amend Section 33 of the city charter to authorize compensation to all city elected officials, provide for coordination with the supervisor elections, provide for conflict, severability, and effective date. If y'all do pass this on second reading tonight, it will go to the March 10th, 2026 referendum. And again, there was that typo, but it's not contained in the version we'll sign if it does pass tonight.
Thank you, sir. Questions from the board for Mr. Burns on ordinance 2199? Councilman Walker.
Looking at it, compensation, and I made a note here to reference Mr. Jeter because I know we had a conversation back then regarding it. And probably dealing with the clarity. I didn't spend as much time looking over this ordinance, but does this ordinance either disclose or describe, or is it even a part of it? Because I couldn't tell by reading the title. Does compensation include benefits?
The ballot question says monetary compensation or health insurance coverage in the wording.
Okay, and then that's just to double check, because Mr. Jeter and I had the conversation. Is there a limit placed on either one of those dollars of compensation or in insurance benefits dollar-wise?
Yeah, hold on here. It is any council member electing monetary compensation shall receive $1,000 per month, and a mayor electing monetary compensation shall receive $2,000 per month. However, that's if they choose the monetary compensation. If they have to choose one of the two, they can also choose health insurance coverage for themselves and their immediate family, which would probably be worth more than the
no limit placed on the benefit of insurance.
Correct.
Is that described in here? Can you point me to that?
No, it's not.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. That's it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Council, do you wish to take any action tonight?
Mr. Mayor, so moved to adopt ordinance 2199.
Motion made by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilman Browning to approve ordinance 2199. Any additional comments? Council, please vote. And it does pass 5-1. Brings us to ordinance 2200, Mr. Burns.
Ordinance 2200, an ordinance of the City of Fort Walton Beach, Florida, amending Section 35 of the city charter, providing for a referendum on the charter amendment, providing for a ballot question, providing for a vote at the March 10th, 2026 election on whether to remove Section 35 of the city charter relating to limitation on annual budget expenditures, provide for coordination with the supervisor of elections, provide for conflict, severability, and an effective date. If this passes on second reading here tonight, it will go to the March 10th, 2026 referendum. And again, the version you sign has the typo fixed, making it March 10th, not March 11th.
Thank you, sir. Questions for Mr. Burns on ordinance 2200? Would anyone from the public like to speak on ordinance 2200? Council, do you wish to take any action?
Mr. Mayor, so moved to adopt ordinance 2200.
Motion made by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilman Browning to approve ordinance 2200. Any additional comments? Councilman Walker.
I was going to ask Jeff, but he and I spoke on the phone earlier, and I'm still a little, I'd like from, because I was out 2 meetings ago, missed it, and apparently that's when it took place. I'm just curious, whoever was involved with it, because I haven't looked at the meetings or the video, but where did the "and which does not limit increases to property tax millage rates" come in? I was just trying to get a, we know that the limits, annual increases was on spending, nothing related to millage rates, the Section 35 that was passed by voters in 24. But where does the limit increase, where does the rationale, maybe Mr. Mayor, if you were here and can share with me what the rationale for including that was?
Personally, my answer to any kind of question like that regarding any of these would be that was what that committee decided would be a good change to the charter. And then obviously it was voted for by the body.
And that's what I thought to Jeff, and then Jeff said that it, and maybe I misunderstood or what, but that millage rate did not come out of the Charter Review Committee. It was apparently a discussion on this body when I was out. Does anyone else remember that?
No, I can tell you where it came
Okay.
from. So when I was reviewing the ballot language with staff, it was requested that we put something in there about the fact that, to clarify to the voters that millage rate will not be affected by this particular vote. And originally, what happened 2 meetings ago when you weren't here, I actually worded it much longer, and then it got simplified. But so what they voted on, though, or to send to the first reading back in October, was a much longer version saying the same thing, and it did mention property tax, though, in that. But that was also, I added that at the request of staff.
So the request to add that was by staff, not the committee itself, to include property tax?
Well, the committee had didn't recommend a ballot question.
Gotcha.
They never sent a recommended ballot
Gotcha.
question language.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone from the public wish to, or did we already do that? Where are we at? Yeah. I was confused because he was asking a question. All right, council, please vote. And it does pass 5-1, which brings us to...
Mayor, actually, can I say one thing? Because we're about to go into the Christmas break, and a whole month will go to the next council meeting. And I remember last year, shortly after the previous referendum ordinances passed, Ms. Kopp and I were inundated with a lot of legal questions on whether or not the city seal could be used for things, and that was just a big issue. And I was just asking everyone to remember that please don't use the city seal for any political purposes, if you can, because that created a lot of issues. The actual city seal itself, on mailers and whatnot. I was asked.
When you say issues, what kind of issues was created from it?
It's billable time for the city, I'll tell you that.
That brings us to item 11.1, Ms. Barnes.
Thank you, Mayor. The local planning agency, the city council appointed Mr. Robert Rennie to serve on that committee back in January of this year. And at their November 6th OPA meeting, Mr. Rennie was inadvertently appointed as chair for the 26th term. Following the meeting, staff talked with city attorney who advised that a regular LPA member must serve as the chair or vice chair. A alternate member cannot serve. So during their December 4th meeting, Mr. McPherson, who was coming off as chair, requested to switch positions with Mr. Rennie, so that Mr. Rennie could now become a full-time regular member. Mr. McPherson would go to the alternate position. So the LPA board supported that swap and has requested that City Council appoint Mr. McPherson as an alternate member without a term expiration and appoint Mr. Rennie as a regular member to fill the position currently held by Mr. McPherson with a term ending September 30th, 2028. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Fantastic. Questions for Ms. Barnes on this? Seeing none, you guys wish to take any action tonight?
Mr. Mayor, so move staff's recommendation.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilman Merrill to take the recommendation of Ms. Barnes and city staff and reappoint Mr. James McPherson and Mr. Robert Rennie to serve in those respective positions on the LPA. Any additional comments?
Thank you, Mr. McPherson and Mr. Rennie, for serving.
Council, please vote. The motion does pass unanimously. Brings us to item 11.2. Ms. Barnes.
So for the Police Officers Retirement Fund Board, on December the 3rd, the Police Officers Board chose Mr. Matthew Holt to continue to serve on the board as its 5th member and submitted his name to City Council for appointment. So staff respectfully recommends City Council reappoint Mr. Matthew Holt as the 5th member to the Police Officers Retirement Fund Board with a term to expire September 30th, 2029. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, ma'am. Questions for Ms. Barnes? Seeing none, do you wish to take any action?
Make a motion to take staff's recommendation.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Merrill, seconded by Councilman Jeter to reappoint Mr. Matthew Holt as the 5th member to the Police Officers Retirement Fund Board. Any additional comments?
Thank you, Mr. Holt.
Council, please vote. Does pass unanimously. Brings us to item 11.3, the Firefighters Retirement Fund Board appointment. Ms. Barnes.
On December 17th of 24, Council appointed Ms. Carly Silberslag to serve on the Fort Walton Beach Firefighters Board to fill an unexpired term of a city resident position. Her term is set to expire December the 31st, and she has expressed an interest to continue serving on that board. And staff respectfully recommends City Council's reappointment of Ms. Silberslag as a resident member to the city's Firefighters Retirement Fund Board to fill a 4-year term to expire December 31st, 2029. Be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Ms. Barnes? Anyone wish to make an appointment to this board?
Mr. Mayor, so move staff's recommendation.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Merrill, seconded by Councilman Jeter to reappoint Carly Silberslag to the Firefighters Retirement Fund Board. Any additional comments?
Thank you, Ms. Carly.
Please vote. Brings us to item, it does pass unanimously. Brings us to item 11.4, the Chamber of Commerce Advisory Board. Currently, we have Mr. Merrill filling that position, and he has volunteered to serve again.
And if I may, Mayor,
Sure, you may.
I know this kind of gets confusing sometimes. I don't call everybody when these terms are mid-years of a voting election year. In an election year, I will contact everybody for every position on those boards. When it's one during midterm like this, I just ask the person who's currently filling it if they'd like to continue. These are just, there are a few of the ones that are like an annual appointment based on that board's bylaws and so forth. So that's why it's done a little differently.
Makes sense. Anyone want to nominate themselves before Mr. Merrill?
I move to nominate Mr. Ben Merrill.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilman Browning to nominate Mr. Ben Merrill to serve on the Chamber of Commerce Advisory Board. Any additional comments?
Thank you, Ben. I know you're representing us well. Keep doing it.
Council, please vote. Does pass unanimously. Brings us to item 11.5, and the Northwest Florida Fair Board, currently filled by me, volunteer to serve by me. Anyone want to do it instead of me or nominate me?
I move to nominate Mr. Mayor Nick Allegretto to serve on the Northwest Florida Fair Board for as long as possible.
Thank you. Motion made by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilwoman DeBerry to reappoint me to the very strenuous Northwest Florida Fair Board. Any additional comments? Council, please vote.
Mr. Berry, Mr. Berry.
She was making notes. No. That's why it's the best one. It does pass unanimously. Brings us to the Okaloosa County Head Start appointment, currently filled by Ms. Riley, and she has volunteered to serve again. Anyone wish to
Move to nominate Ms. Debbie Riley.
There you go. Nominated by Mr. Jeter, seconded by Ms. DeBerry for Debbie Riley to return to the Okaloosa County Head Start Board. Any additional comments? Council, please vote. The motion does pass unanimously, which brings us to item 12.1, action, direction, and discussion, and a request for code enforcement fine reduction and waiver at 13 Carson Drive Southeast. Mr. Davis or Mr. Burns? Mr. Davis.
It's another one of the code enforcement cases brought before us. They've come into compliance. The individual came to sit with me. His paperwork had a different address, but this is the correct address in what Ms. Burns has created here, Ms. Barnes. The code enforcement team said the property is outstanding now, so they've kept up their end of the bargain. So we're looking to waive the fines and liens against this church.
Gotcha. Questions on this for Mr. Davis? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Council, do you wish to take any action tonight?
Mr. Mayor, so move staff's recommendation to waive the remaining fees on 13 Carson Drive Southeast.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilman Merrill to waive the remaining fees at 13 Carson Drive Southeast per the mitigation schedule situation here. Yes, sir.
I would just like to say thank you for all the hard work Code's doing. It seems like every meeting we have a fine release or lien release because we're bringing properties into compliance, and that's the purpose of Code. So keep up the hard work, and thank you.
Anyone else? Council, please vote. The shortest discussion on fine reduction passes unanimously. I love to see it. It brings us to item 12.2, fiscal year 2024-25 CDBG Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, otherwise known as the CAPER. Mr. Gibson.
Yes, sir. Good evening. So this is the annual requirement for the CDBG program that we submit this to HUD. It is basically a summary of the year of what all money was expended. It focuses on the previous year's, fiscal year's program. However, we do include all the information from any previous year that had not been fully expended at that time. So for this report, there were 3 programs that were expended that were from the fiscal year 23-24 or from the 21-22 periods on there. With those, 2 of those were closed out, which only leaves the housing rehab program that actually has outstanding programs that were predecessing the previous fiscal year on there. So we're doing really good on our spending on there, getting these, the money spent out of there. We do have plans for the housing rehab money to get that spent out of there as well. There was just some money that was returned into that program. That's why it kind of plussed back up in there. We'd spent the money, but then they sold the house, so the money had to come back into the program from there. For the previous fiscal year on there, as you can see, most of those have been paid out. There's a few more on there that is left on there. Even on those numbers, the vast majority of that has actually already been done. We're just getting the final invoices and everything to close that out on there. And with that, staff respectfully recommend City Council approval of fiscal year 24-25 CDBG Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report.
Thank you, sir. Questions for Mr. Gibson, Mr. Jeter?
You say some of these were from previous years that were closing out 24, 25, correct? That carried over?
That's correct.
Okay, because what did we ended up doing, and real quick, we don't have to go on forever, but at the 25, 26, I thought we talked about doing one large project. What park was it? Did we ever decide?
Lovejoy area.
Okay. So we're going all funding to one big project and park for this year. This is from previous years.
This is from the previous year, basically the fund, that's for this current year's funding. This is basically summarizing what happened with the last year's funding.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this? Seeing none, council, do you wish to take any action tonight?
So move to approve fiscal year 24-25 CDBG Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report as presented tonight.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilman Browning to approve the CAPER. Any additional comments?
No, sir.
Council, please vote. And it does pass unanimously, which brings us to item 12.3, support of permanent protection of the Eastern Gulf Test and Training Range from oil drilling. Mr. Burns.
So back, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, Councilmember Schmidt reached out to me because I believe he's part of an email blast chain from the mayor of Niceville and some of the other mayors and some other local leaders, none of them being on the same board, so there's no sunshine law issues. But the mayor of Niceville put out a call to every city to put a letter like this together because the Okaloosa County Board of County Commissioners and the Destin City Council had already done so. It basically is a letter objecting to opening up the Eastern Gulf Test Range for more oil drilling in those leases, and it's something that's over the last 20 years, like Congressman Gates was always good at getting that shut down, and the previous congressman before him was too, and it always helps the sitting congressman to get kind of unanimous support from a lot of the local governmental agencies in that area. It's just another thing that kind of bolsters their case. So what would happen if y'all do approve of this letter here today, Mayor Alcarotta, you would sign that, and then the copy would go to Congressman Petronas, and then also there's an address on here to actually go to the Department of Interior and a way to file online as well. And I think I don't have obviously a dog in the fight, but I do think it's probably effective to have everyone lockstep. So.
Thank you, sir. Questions on this for Mr. Burns? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Council, do you wish to take any action tonight?
I make a motion to support this protection of the Eastern Gulf Coast Test and Training Range from oil drilling.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman DeVere, seconded by Councilwoman Riley to move forward with the letter. Any additional comments? Seeing none, council please vote. And it does pass unanimously, which brings us to city manager reports, Mr. Davis.
And that first item, I think Mr. Burns has already said it's been postponed, correct?
Yeah, to February, most likely.
Okay. Moving on, I would like to recognize the police for the really cool Winter Wonderland pallet thing they put on. I think Kendra Stalls kind of championed that, but it was awesome. The kids had a good time, so cool on that. Navigating the 3%, we try to bring something up every time that we're fighting with that, just so people understand the actual impact. We have, I want to say 100-something thousand in our tree mitigation fund, but I can't spend it because the trees are purchased out of operating, and I'm not comfortable spending operating funds on that yet. It's just another kind of silly thing that we have to wrestle with. We had spoke last meeting about working with the churches on the styrofoam to-go boxes. Speak with Mr. Burns, I think could take a different tact and try to get them on the team and see if we can figure out a way to get them to work with us. I don't want to be the hammer and just go in and say we're going to write an order and fine you for giving out this stuff. I'm not quite sure the right way to phrase it, but I'm going to try when I get back from leave. I'm going to see if I can schedule some time with the two churches that are, I think, the big contributors to this trash issue that is going out. And if they have some skin in the game, I think maybe we'll have a better partnership. So just want to take a different approach with that. And then golf clap is due for Mr. Nick Driver, promoted today to Deputy City Clerk. Very loud golf clap, but yes, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. City Attorney reports, Mr. Burns.
Good night, Merry Christmas to everybody.
Fantastic. Happy holidays to you. That moves us to final comments, and we start with Mr. Walker.
Yeah, let's see. If Mr. Browning will allow, thank you for asking the request on the trash. That should be a good study there. If I could add on to it, I will, but if you had other intentions, I'll do my own. But yeah, I know you mentioned the cities. Could you also obviously add in the county? They do 2 trash pickups, we know, along with that recycle. So add that on, thank you. And then the church that came up here, which I've looked it up real quick on the maps, it's not the one I was thinking, but I live nearby the church. There was a church there on Hollywood. I got notification of the vacating of the right-of-way. I've seen a lot of construction going on there, so that's exciting. Back behind, a couple of blocks. It's corner of Elm and Hollywood there. That was a church there. Do we know what's going in there, business-wise?
Each weekend.
Just admin office or something? Oh, dang it. I was hoping for something edible or drinkable. Can I stop by and get coffee? Donuts? Okay. That's all I had. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, sir. Mr. Brown.
Yes, I would like to see if we can get that resolution, I guess 2025-29 now? Or is that what it is that we changed? The rules and procedures on the next agenda? I just feel like we have, that I sat out here while it was changed the last time. I feel like it's a new council that may want to see it ran differently. So if nothing changes, awesome. If something does, cool. And then also, just for clarification on the trash question, just being up here, since I mentioned it the first time, I received like 12 text messages. Why are you bringing that up? So, we know that there's chatter about possible outsourcing that, and I just feel like it's the fair thing to do to look internally, because I'm assuming we haven't asked our own staff to do it yet. I just think it's the fair thing to do to ask them to see what they can provide because of the services that they already provide. That's fantastic. So that's why I have asked for them to bring that back. And that's all I have. Thanks. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. Ms. DeBerry.
Yes, follow up on the trash pickup. Twice a week, are we going to increase our paying for twice a week pickup on our water bill? I noticed, as I shared with the city manager, more and more people are moving back home to save on money. More and more people, seniors especially, are moving in together to save on money, on rent and what have you. So there's more garbage per household. But then there's many of us that don't need twice a week pickup, garbage pickup. So my question to you, City Manager, Mr. Davis, are you going to increase our water bill on this trash pickup?
Just yours.
Just mine? I thought so.
Just taking a step back, I started in June, and at least 3 of you asked me to look into this. I couldn't start it until November because we needed to close out the numbers. So once I had the numbers in my fat little hands, I put together a draft, and about 20 pages, right, just as something to chew through, and I've sent it to the sanitation team. What I've asked before tonight was prepare something saying this is what it costs us to keep it as is, this is what it costs us to bring a second pickup, this is what it would potentially, if we put it out to bid, if that's the will of the council, but in there, just so I didn't want staff freaking out that we're just gonna outsource and thanks for coming, so there's gonna be some protections in there for staff to include salary and vacation time and those sorts of things. So there's a strategy, but to answer your question, I don't know until the will of the council says go forth and do whatever. So I can't give you a yes or no. It could go any number of different ways, right? So if it's the will of the board to go out for a contract, I would request a 5-year contract. And at the end of that contract, the concern is, you know, there's a hustle in the trash game, right? Wayne Huizenga and the Dolphins, so there's money to be made. I want to protect one of the hustles I know of is the commercial just takes a beating to make up for the residential. So we may have to go back out to bid at that point in time. So I mean, there's lots of things to navigate, but I did pull a public records request for Destin, I think, and I'll try and get Crestview and County and add that. I just pulled public records for Destin out of curiosity, but I can probably get the other two and we'll circle back. So not a good answer to your question, not a firm answer, but
You're right.
three of your colleagues will have to team up with you.
Well, I have to talk with my colleagues.
There you go. But only in the sunshine.
Only in the sunshine.
With the red lights on.
Only when, well, I'm here talking to you here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Discussion. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, can I add something to that?
Yeah.
Just from my ask is because I'm not one of those 3 people that reached out to him. I don't know, are we just trying to get rid of a department? Are we trying to add a second day? We've not discussed anything about it. I have no idea. So we'll find out when they present it, and presumably, hopefully lower, then we'll know the answer if it's what the will or what the want is out of this request.
It's similar to the aftercare daycare, right? The conversation was, are we competing with private sector? Could we potentially save money? Whatever. So we'll look at it. The will of the board will.
So that's when we'll discuss it then.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Jeter.
It all smells trashy to me.
Stinks.
On top of the generic Merry Christmas, everybody, just thank you for all the delightful conversations we have in this room, some good, some bad throughout the year, kind of makes you reflect. We've had a lot of really good workshops over the years. We got another one coming up. We had a really great CRA meeting earlier, one of the most productive ones that I think we've had in 2 or 3 years. So we've got a lot of cons still to navigate through, but we got a lot of pros. We live in a great community. From the parade, heard nothing but great things about. Winter Wonderland, heard nothing but great things about. The new CRA meetings that you're doing, the getting out and meeting and greeting with the city manager and really meeting the community. Just hearing a lot of really good positive things. Yeah, there's some rocks to be thrown about a specific road or a specific vote, but in general, we are blessed to live in such a great area, and I hope everybody has a safe and happy holidays, and see you back in here in January ready to get some more productive work done.
Well said, sir. Thank you. Mr. Merrill.
Yeah, real quick to jump into the trash conversation, because everybody else said, I run some of our businesses. We use our home as our office. I grew up, I guess, in the county off Beale, and we would get 2 trash pickups. So when I got one, I was like, this is not working. So just to throw an idea out there, because we just pay for a second trash can. I know I don't know how much cheaper that would be than having to have another day where trucks go out, but from a business standpoint, I'm like, and like you said, some people don't want it, so why would we charge it? Is there a possible way to go to look into that and say, we'll just grab that second trash can and it effectively works the same? Just throwing that out there since you guys brought that conversation up. As I was saying earlier, as far as like being on city council, being, getting on in April, I'm in the water sports tourism industry, so in the summer, it's hard to get a hold of me. I'm super busy. As I've come out of that, I've got to come to more events, which I've really appreciated. learned so much about our city, how it works. I've got some tentative dates with Chief Page and Daniel Payne to go and tour those facilities. So if there's staff out there that thinks that we would benefit by learning more about your department, call me. I'd love to learn more. Kind of really like to understand how it works, because sometimes there's been a few times up here where I'm like, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I try to ask a lot of questions so we can. One of my first or second, one of the early meetings I had, like, I was Googling things. I think I made a joke about it. But it's, I mean, I feel like I can do a much better job for the city, for the people, for my neighbors, for my co-workers, people around me, if I understand it. So thank you guys. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. And I got my generic one.
Love it, man. Merry Christmas to you, Ms. Riley.
I just wanted to thank the city, thank my colleagues here on the dais, obviously, Mayor Grotto, also for any patience that you all have had with me too, because this has been a learning process, and I'm getting ready to wind down at the end of the year and go into a new year, and so hopefully the things I've learned thus far, I'm able to polish up a little bit on it, and I can be, make a difference for the city of Fort Walton Beach and the residents coming into the new year. And on the other hand, wanted to just speak on, as Bryce can say, on the trashy issue. Well, I was not one of the ones that inquired about it as well, but obviously, I'm open-minded enough to see whatever information that you can compile, but me, I'm kind of like, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. If it don't need, the squeaky wheel is not squeaking anymore and doesn't need any more oil, and but anything that's for the city and that's going to be a positive for specifically for our employees. Want to make sure that, because I value the employee's opinion, obviously the same way the voter, because that's, I'm working for the constituents. And so I'm waiting to entertain whatever information that you can get. Thank you. And now, Merry Christmas and wonderful New Year.
Thank you, man. Merry Christmas to you. And I would just echo a lot of what everyone else has said up here. It's been I think, pretty productive year in 2025. And everyone that's just recently joined the board, I think, has done a fantastic job of not only learning, but being willing to learn and being willing to listen. And Mr. Davis, it's been great to have you aboard as well. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and everyone take care of yourselves and each other. We're adjourned.
You should start.